Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Philip Flory. Thank you first of all for all the masses of birthday wishes through here, Facebook and everything else like that. Had yesterday off, hence the new show is today, on Saturday here, so we're sort of playing catch up. Had a great week last week, lots of things happened here. I suppose the big thing is, from our point of view so to speak, is the Phantom, as we have here, is all ready for paintwork now. She's literally going to need some prep work to go over, but she's all ready for primer. We've gone around and done everything to it now, so it's all done, smoothed down, all the joints are fine, everything else, and worked our way around. So you can see this part is on the build, which will get you up to this stage. And as I said, I really hope to have this thing done up in primer and ready for painting work, but as you'll see in a moment, we had a few problems that slowed us down. It's gone together absolutely great. I must admit, I've got no complaints about the kit whatsoever, and considering what we've done, we've gone around under here and pulled out the engine, so that means we've got no engine mounts now, and had to scratch build this engine bay to put that in, but it's all worked really well. So we're just about to start paintwork on that one. So we're certainly getting to near the ending of that one. The other one, and to be honest, has been an absolute nightmare from start to finish. Obviously, members, if you can watch the video, you're going to see exactly what's happened with this one. But the fibre optic gave up. You need to know, we might know what we've done. We've illuminated with fibre optics the instrument panel inside this one. And then what we've done is we've had fibre optics, the lighting system is in this forward fuselage area. It goes off down on rods, and we've got fibre optics coming out here at the wingtips. Basically, just before I buttoned this all up and sealed it all up and did all the seam work, I plugged the battery system into this one to check it. All worked lovely, apart from this light didn't work. Turns out what we actually had, and I had to cut the bottom open, just need to reattach this in here, one of the fibre optics snapped, and when it snapped, obviously that's it, you lose the lot. So what I actually had to do was try and glue it together to get it together. It wouldn't work, everything else. And as you know, if you follow this particular build, just down in these wing joints, it pumps solid with super glue to act as a filler system and some strength for these wings, because these wings are a bit of a nightmare fit. But luckily, if you can remember guys, we put this rod in here, this plastic strip. Now the great thing is obviously then it allowed and bypassed this area which is full of super glue, was all sealed and protected because of the actual rod system. So I managed to pull out the old fibre optic, feed the new one through. We had to cut some holes in here to feed it through, but to get one in. And it's a lot thicker this time because I couldn't get the thin one through, but the thicker one worked. So it's back in there, back on track. So really, when you think of the nightmare this one has been through to date so far, you would think that would really be the end of it. You know, we've had trouble with the cockpit fitting it in because it's too big and everything, and we've sanded it down trying to get it in there and everything else. We had trouble with the wheel wells because they don't fit either, so sanding them down and trying to get them fitted as well was a real pain in the bum. The gun bays, again, nightmare trying to get those in because none of these things are drop-in fits. They look great when they're in there, but they're certainly no means easy to get in. So anyway, we did all of this and I thought, oh great, we're really now finishing up here. So we masked up the canopy, put this in fibre optics. I thought, right, I'll pop the flaps on now and everything else like that, so we can, you know, we're basically ready for painting. So anyway, we put them on, and guess what? They don't fit either. So what we've actually did with this one was to get in there, rip out the photo etch with pliers, yank them out, and then re-put them in and re-sit them roughly in position. Then I've gone around with a little bit of plastic rod and super glue and did bits of filler. I made up all the connectors again on this one to go through. I've got to, thinking about it, I've got one left over just here I need to take care of to get that in. So we've got a nice non-seam line, because when you put these in, these are too far down, they're too far out. And I'm not sure if it's where I should have pushed them in further, but I did it part of the instructions, and I say, doesn't fit. So anyway, we've gone round, fixed them up now, we're all totally done. I've got a couple of things still to do. I've got a little bit of work just down here on this gun bay back of it. Back lip I've knocked a bit off, so we need to take care of that. But basically now the Corsair, we've got a resin engine to go on this one, it's ready for paintwork as well. So both of them now are all ready for paintwork. So doing two kits, especially this size, isn't any mean feat. And I know everyone thinks I'm in this massive room here, but trust me, it's not that big, and you guys that have been here know that. So doing two aircraft of this size in here has not been an easy feat at all. So anyway, next week, clear all this away. Got the old extractor, we're going to put the shroud on that as well to get all the nasties out of here, and we're going to be painting all week, which I must admit, out of all the things, people often ask me what's your favourite bit of the actual hobby, is the painting. I love painting and weathering, and as I mentioned last week, those ones are really going to go to town on it. We're going to be spraying them up, completely weathering, fading, and we're going to be doing chipping on the Corsair, staining on the actual Phantom and things like that. So, be lots of fun next week, and as I say, part 7, crikey, we're up to part 7 already on the Phantom. That's up this week, it's on there now, and I think it's part 5 or 6 for the Corsair is going to be up as well. So if it's not up exactly as you do this, give us an hour, because obviously it takes time to refresh and get them up. But they're all filmed, they're all edited and ready to go. So you can watch those parts and get those up there. At the same time, we had big deliveries in this week. We are now fully stocked up on the entire of the extra acrylics range that we do, which is, for the guys who don't know, is these little yellow bottles of acrylic paint that do the range. We've got the lot in, and we've got lots of each of them in. We were out of stock of some of them. We were out of stock of the thinners, and we were out of stock of the flat. They are all now back in stock, so we actually got everything of those. The store itself, the only thing that I know we're out of stock of at the moment is this rod stuff. We're out of stock of. We have got an order coming that in soon. Lead wire, we have got some of the sizes of it, but I'm having a real trouble tracking down various things, but it's a little thing I'm working on at the moment to try and sort of do it direct. So we'll hopefully have those in within the next couple of weeks as well. So we'll get those sorted out. The other things we did have in, members on the site, I'm trying to explain the way this works. What I tend to do is when I get kits in, I say to everyone, anybody want one on the site, and I can get them in at a far cheaper price than normally what you pay in the shops. So, and everybody said, I'll have one, I'll have one, I'll have one. So when the new Skyhawk turned up, which is the new Trumpeter 132nd Skyhawk, unfortunately everybody's bought one, so I haven't even got one for myself, so I can't really go around and cut one of these open to show you literally all the bits. A couple of things I will point out. The markings for it, you might be able to see them in here, get the glare off, show it as being the B and C versions, I think they call them, which is the one without this hump, and they have a slightly different nose on it. Now, but when you actually get in here, and you can see it, I think it's in here, if we get it off, it does come with the hump. Okay, this is actually the E version, which does have it. And the other thing that obviously this is someone's kit, so I'm not going to take it out of the bags because it might be a present or something like that. A couple of things that immediately jump out to you is, one is very, very fine, obviously recessed panel lines as we'd expect this day and age, okay? But the other thing as well, the riveting is, well, really in scale. And I know, I'm not taking, the piss here or anything, but usually it's quite overdone being Trumpeter kits. But whoever the riveting people in there, they've obviously got the right scale now and gone around with it. Unfortunately, these little, you get the little raised areas on the top of the wings, which cause vortexes for better aerodynamics over the actual ailerons and things like that. They're a little bit thick, so with one hand they give us, with one they take away. But what I will say is, I have been through this kit and really, really ruling. As you'd expect, we've got the back part here. You've got a brake, so you can show it with the engine. And when we say with the engine, yes, as seems to be the thing now, the norm now, they do come with a full engine, detailed. So obviously you can show it in the open or closed position. Unfortunately, you don't get a trolley to pull it on and off like some of the Sabres do. But what you do get, obviously, you've got bays that open up around the nose area and everything else like that. But I will say, quite a fan of these, and guys will know me know I did quite a few of the 148s. But we've got quite nicely detailed wheelbase. I'm sure the aftermarket guys will come along with those, but noticeable they'll pick out. Front nose wheel itself is moulded completely in one, which is not exactly brilliant, especially for painting around and everything else. So I don't know if the aftermarket people might come along and actually do a new one of those. And obviously it's all moulded in one, as I say. But you do get, where are we? As I said, there is your engine, fully detailed engine. Normal thing, unfortunately, ejector pin marks, some real big ones inside that engine that you will need to take care of. Weapons on Mias and Tias, multiple ejector racks. Obviously you've got weapons fit, which is pretty generic, so you might find that they're not actually for this actual aircraft. We've got some rails there, we've got Snake Eyes, Mark 82s, Mavericks. Obviously what tends to happen now is that Trumpeter are just doing sort of generic weapon sets in these bags of, like, as you say, we've got Mark 82s, we've got Rock Eyes, no, we haven't got Rock Eyes in here actually, no, I don't think we have in this one, but we've got Mark 82s, we've got Snake Eyes and things like that. So what they tend to do is put Mavericks, so you just get that bag in the kit, so that's about it. Fuel tanks, to me, they look like the smaller ones. They don't look like the, although they might be actually. I haven't noticed, to say, not totally up, and having not got it out and put them together yet, it's very hard to tell in the bag. But it looks like to me that they are the smaller type of Hawkeye fuel tanks. This is the bit that they don't seem to talk about on the box, but it is in the instructions. This is the hump that goes over the top of the spine of this one, which makes it quite frankly, into the better one. When you go through the instructions of this, as you'd imagine, very, very nicely laid out. Your normal thing, cockpit, engine, putting it together. It looks like it goes together very, very well. And this here is the section, we can get the camera on there we go, that shows obviously the bottom one here, down here is the one with the hump, or you can have it without coats. Personal choice on that one, and as I say, I haven't been through all the reference material and the bits and pieces, but just looking through how all this goes is all very, very nice. Now, a couple of things I do want to point out is, first of all, we get one of these nice boxes in here. If we just hoof this out, we get main gear tyres, okay, as I said, nose gear doesn't. Photo etch parts for the side dive brakes or speed brakes, okay, they actually have got photo etch inlays, and then obviously we've got things there for the cockpit and bits, so we've got those. Clear part canopies, we've got lots of them, okay, let's go through these. We've actually got the wing parts as well and everything else, so we've actually got, if we have a quick scan these in here, I think it does show for a glass cockpit, as I say, and everything else, so you could backlight this one if you're doing things like I do, for a nice cockpit. And the other thing as well is metal undercarriage, white metal legs, and these actually are very, very nice. There's no massive flash on them and everything else, quite nicely detailed, just as nice as the plastic ones. So all in all, as part of, you know, scoring these things, I do have to give this one, short of building it yet, apart from the aftermarket, the guys coming along and probably doing cockpits and things like that, it looks like it's pretty much there already. So I'm going to have to score this one, if I had to, around about a 9 out of 10, because it's got lovely panel lines. The only thing is there's lots of ejector pin marks in really nasty areas, which I would rather not see, but quite frankly, very, very nicely done. So as soon as I get one of those for me, I'll cut the thing open, get it together, have a look at it, and I'll give you a bit more of a review on that one. But as I say, that one is going out to one of you nice members. The other thing as well is their new BF109. This is the E4. Obviously, you know, it's the gallon version, so as you can imagine, this one's been done by everybody before, quite frankly, in pretty much every scale. Same thing again, going through this one, very, very, very nice riveting detail. I don't know if there's been a company change on this one, but this thing is covered in rivets, as you would expect the real thing is. And I know a couple of guys re-rivet their aircraft completely. Well, for once in your lifetimes, you're not going to have to do it with this kit, because it is covered in them. Little things that Trumpeter seems to be doing also is that they're putting in access hatches and things like that, which is a really nice touch, and it saves me, like I'm doing with a Phantom, cutting things open to do them. No exception on this one, so we've got the radio equipment bay and everything down the back of this one is all done. As you can imagine, it comes with obviously separate control surfaces and flaps, things like that. Pretty well detailed bay. We've also got down here fully detailed engine, and obviously the cowls come on and off and all the bits and pieces like that. And as I say, for scale and looking at the ejector pin marks and things like that, it all looks like they're not really in the way of this particular kit, so very nicely done. Prop looks okay, fuel tanks, things like that, the legs, everything else. As you can imagine, really, if you've ever built a 109, they all tend to go together the same way. Usual thing again, we've got photo etch parts, so we've obviously got things down here for in the wheelbase, we've got the grills, a little bit of armour plating, harnesses, things like that. Very, very nicely done as well. Decals themselves, he says, yep, they look very, very nice, and as I say, you've got some nice marking choices in there as well as. And then this is the interesting bit. We've got in here, you've got the various spinners. You've got 3 spinners down here. We've got your actual rubber wheels as well, so that's a nice little touch. And as I say, and your clear parts look extremely clear, very, very nicely clear, just in the bags as well. So what we'll do is, over the next couple of weeks, I will get these obviously out of the bags. And we will go through them all like that. Usual thing, as you can imagine, very nice colour, pull out, and we've got some other versions down in there. So we've got Bulgarian 109, as well as the German ones as well. So something a little bit different as well, having the Bulgarian markings on this bottom one. So there we go, that's it. So those have been in this week, very, very nicely. I have got ordered in, and they are coming in for everybody who's pre-ordered them, is the Edard MiG-21, which is something we'll be looking at next week, which looks an absolutely lovely kit as well. I saw some photos on the net of it and I thought, oh, that looks a bit horrible in some certain areas, looked a bit plasticky, but now I've seen sprue shots. I think the ones I saw was the pre-production shots or the early test shots that were coming out off of the moulds. Certainly looking at the ones now, they do look a lot better. So obviously we'll have a good look at that one when it turns up next week. I have got coming in for it the wheels for it and the extra rocket pods as well, which were obviously, I think they were the ones that were available if you bought them direct off the site for so many at the front, so we can do them afterwards, and they work out about 15 quid for the pair if you buy them at the same time. So that's really it for those bits this week. The other thing as well we've got massively going on this week is actually the changing over of the group builds. So the Diorama group build is coming to an end tomorrow night. So that's going to be on, obviously we're Saturday today, it's Sunday the 20th. Night time, don't worry about it. We don't have a full cut-off point. We don't sit there literally like midnight, turn that one off, right? Okay, literally, you know, any time over. So I'll kick it off in the morning, or perhaps one of the other team might kick it off at some point, but we'll lock the threads and that's it. Obviously then judging will go on. We haven't had a massive response to this one, and I can understand why as well, because I am totally guilty of it. I got so caught up with other bits and pieces that I never even got started on my group build. I had all these mass ideas in my head of how to do it, and then it fell apart really and I didn't get into it. But what I will say is the guys who took part in it really did do some great things. We had the really simple, like I said about literally take your diorama base of an airfield and put an existing model onto it, which really just turns it from being a model like I'm guilty of, got them in a display cabinet looking quite boring really, sat on a glass shelf doing nothing, to giving them an environment to sit in, to other guys who completely gone to town on it and detailed up and scratch built, and they've scratch built everything, bridges, you know, scenery, everything else. So the prizes are, he's there just grabbing them. Ugh. We've got, obviously this was sponsored by Dioramas Plus, who supplied us with these great dioramas. So this is first prize, okay, and then second prize we've got the last stand one as well that was sent to us. They weigh an absolute ton, so they're going to cost a fortune to ship. That's all par of it. I say, if you have got one that's pretty close to being done, you know, and you are watching this now, you've got just over a day to get one finished. Just getting them up there, get them finished and put them in. Obviously there will be medals for everybody, which obviously this is a model one, so we can't use that anymore, so it will be a flooring models one. Medals, we'll go for that one and we'll get that sorted. At the same time, obviously the Battle of Britain SIG, some great builds in that one as well. It's going to come to an end on the 28th, so you've just got over a week for that one as well, to get that one sort of finished out, and all the bits and pieces. So we've got Diorama one's going to finish this week, Battle of Britain one's going to finish after that, and then shortly afterwards we've got the Phantom group build, hence why I'm getting my arse in gear with mine. It's going to finish on the 10th of April, okay, so once those ones are done and out of the way, that's it. Then what we've got starting on the 26th, which obviously next week, is going to be the World War II multi-engine group build. Now, if I'm just going to run through, because a lot of people have been asking lots of questions about how the group builds work and, you know, various things. Basically, the group build is, you're a member of Flooring Models, okay? Pop along to the website, and then very shortly, I'll probably do it tomorrow, I'll put up all the actual, in the forum there'll be a section and it will be called World War II multi-engine group build, okay? All the details will be posted into there, and there will be then, normally you get aircraft, land, sea. Obviously this is just going to be aircraft because that's what the group build actually is, okay? And then there'll be a revealed. What you do, you start a thread in there and just post up what you're doing, the box shot, so you take a photo of the box, some of the sprues so people can see what you're doing, a little bit on what you're planning on doing. So if you're going to build it just out of the box, just put in there it's going to be an out of the box build, okay? I'm going to be doing whoever's markings, okay? And then what happens is that just gives other people a heads up. So if somebody else was planning on doing that one, and obviously they don't want to turn up at the party in the same dress, so to speak, okay, then obviously they can go and pick somebody else's markings, things like that. That way we don't all end up with exactly the same model at the end, okay? And then what you do is that every time you do an update, and just put a few updates as you go through your build, or you can do a detailed one, you can just pop on there exactly how you did it, alright? And then obviously at the end of the build we have a reveal section, you pop it in there and then 6 months down the line, comes to an end, a little like the dioramas one's going to be, obviously myself and the team will then go and have a chat amongst ourselves, come across with a winner, then you'll get a prize and everything else like that. Currently we don't have a sponsor for it. I will sort one out, even if it ends up being myself as normal, but what will happen is hopefully that somebody will sponsor it, and then obviously they will donate perhaps £50 worth of whatever the company does, or some items from their company, everything else. But everybody who takes part and completes gets a medal. Okay, the criteria is really, really simple. What you want to do is basically a World War II multi-engined aircraft. Okay, so it could be a Dakota, you know, or a Skytrain. Okay, it could be a Lancaster, a B-17. Okay, or you could think, well, I'll do a Mosquito in a night fighter. You know, something like that. So as long as it's got more than one engine, hence multi-engined, and it was operational in World War II. When we say operational, it has to be an aircraft that flew operationally during the theatre of war, okay? So you can't have, you know, a what if, so you can't put something in somebody else's markings. It has to be true to the actual scheme and was used operationally in those things. 6 months to do it, so you've got 26 weeks. Pop it all together. You don't have to start today, you don't have to list them all up there straight away. You can join the group build at any point before obviously the closing date. Okay, but all we do need is, say, at the beginning, it is a shot of the box lid. So literally just do a shot. You know, obviously you can't do this, but if you had a multi-engine aircraft you don't have on to hand, you just do a photo of the box, okay? A photo of the spruce just laid out in their bags or out of their bags, whatever. And all that does is just show everybody that you're starting it now and didn't build it 3 years ago and just re-entering it in something else again. Okay, and then obviously just as you go through, just do some. So if you want to help out other members and say to them, look, this is how I'm doing my cockpit, I'm going to dry brush it, everything else, that would be absolutely great, because everyone can follow how you're doing, and that's how we all pick up the tips and the little ideas and the little brainwaves where people say, oh, you know, I'll give that a whirl and it works and everything else. And that's how we all learn, all evolve. And then obviously if you see somebody making a massive error, like say to them, look, before you glue that, you might want to stick this in first, things like that, just say it. You know, that's what it's all about, guys. And what it's going to do is just bring everybody together. You don't have to take part. If you want to do a fighter, you know, or something else, single engine, you can just do that as a straightforward build on the site, just a way. It's just you're not eligible for the group build, and that is really it, simple as. So group builds, they're all designed to be fun, very light-hearted, very jovial, everything else like that. And then obviously at the end of it, you get the pleasure of me normally involving you into a video montage or something else like that, as you might see the videos that I do on the group builds. And then obviously if you do complete, you'll get the medal and a chance to win some of the prizes and everything else like that. So that's really it to it. What we're trying to do now is streamline them down to get to a point where we're all roughly working off the same page. So don't forget, you could literally just do now, you can sit down and say, look, I'm going to do a Mosquito in 1/72 scale. You can finish it in a couple of weeks and that's it. You've done your bit, and you think, you know, 3 months down the line, I tell you what, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do a Lancaster. So you end up doing a Lancaster, and then you think, oh, I might do, you know, 148 Mustang, something like that. And you can do, because you can enter as many times as you like, or you can just put one in, or you can say, well, look, I'm working on a big project now. You could be saying, like, I'm doing the Corsair, so when I finish the Corsair, I'm going to do a jet fighter, and then I'll do it at the end of the year. So you can do it at any point, you know, whichever is happy to you. So the other thing as well on these things is the Eggplane build. He says, here we have. And I suppose with recent events which are unfolding everywhere, I'm also going to be doing the Japanese markings of the F-15 as well, because I think it'd be quite nice and cute. Somebody asked me the other day whilst I'm here, can you do a US version of this kit? You can actually, because if I remember rightly, you do get decals, talk amongst yourselves, you do get decals for the Eggland the gorillas with the US markings in the same kit as the Japanese one as well. And that's it, they're dead easy, they go together, they cost a tenner, and they're just a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh. And anybody wants one, I do have 2 of these left, so if anybody would like to do one of those, just shoot me a PM during the forum and we can do it all like that. So that's really it this week, apart from pulling my hair out over about a certain Corsair, which, you know, I must admit I'm glad that's all done and out of the way now. That should be the end of it. As I say, I've got a couple of deliveries coming in next week of some nice exciting stuff, and as soon as those are done, I'll be doing something very, very nice and something very, very big and flashy as well. So until next week, everybody, take care, stay safe and happy modelling.